Ah, Liverpool. Reigning Premier League champions. Arne Slot came in last season, barely spent any money, won the league, job done. And then this summer, they went absolutely wild. Over £450 million spent, broke the British transfer record twice, set a brand new record for the biggest transfer window in Premier League history. It was a complete overhaul of the squad. And some of it was for good reason. This was the summer where they were dealing with the loss of Diogo Jota, a really horrible moment for the club and for football as a whole. And obviously they needed to react and replace someone who'd been such a big part of the team. They also lost Trent Alexander-Arnold on a free to Real Madrid after years of being a key player. So there were major footballing holes to fill as well. But even with all that context, the window still ended up looking chaotic. And the result has been a tough start to the season. They're nowhere near defending their title, and for all the money spent, the squad still doesn't feel quite right. So today, we're doing a do-over. We're using the FM26 Your World Mode to roll things back to the start of the summer, right after Liverpool lifted the Premier League trophy. A couple of signings have already gone through at that point because they were pre-arranged before the season even ended. So players like Wirtz, Frimpong and Kerkez are staying, but everything else is up to me. I get that big pile of cash that they spent on Ekitike, Isak and Leone. I decide who stays and who goes from the title-winning season, and I get to rebuild Liverpool's squad the way I think it should have been done. No panic spending, no breaking records for the sake of it, just a proper, sensible, let's build another title-winning team transfer window. The big question is, can I actually do a better job than the real Liverpool did this summer? Can I spend that ridiculous budget properly, fix the weaknesses and put together a squad capable of going back-to-back in the Premier League? Let's find out. This is Football Rewritten, and in this video, we're fixing Liverpool's £450 million transfer disaster in FM26. And this is where things start off when you load up the game using Your World Mode. So it is the 7th of July. If you're not familiar with Your World Mode, it basically resets everything to where it was on that day. So transfers that have already gone through have gone through. So as I mentioned in the intro, we have got Wirtz, we've got Isak's around somewhere, I think. No, of course Isak's not around. He's one of the ones I'm not signing. So we've got Wirtz. Who else had they signed? Frimpong, Kerkez are both in here somewhere. There's Frimpong. There's Kerkez. But also they've still got the likes of Luis Diaz, Darwin Núñez. They're still at the club as well. So it's reset to the 7th of July. Money-wise, we've got the budget that it's estimated Liverpool would have had on that date with those transfers that have already gone through. So theoretically, that's enough money that once you've sold the likes of Diaz, Núñez and whoever else, you could then go out and buy and do the same transfers that they did in real life. But that's not what we're going to do. I don't want to just redo what Liverpool have done, because it seems mad to me that a team that have won the Premier League playing a 4-3-3 with their main strength as an outsider looking in, being that midfield three with Gravenberch at the base of it and whatever combination you would have in front of that, McAllister, Szoboszlai, that seems really strong as an innocent bystander. So trying to shuffle that all around to fit the new players in. I don't know why you sign £250 million worth of striker, for example, because to my mind, they've just won the league with these guys. I don't know that we necessarily even need to sell them. Maybe they'll decide they want to leave. Maybe they'll force their way out. But Luis Diaz in particular is somebody who I feel like you could probably keep around. Yeah, it might be hard to fit him into the team with Wirtz, who is here. There was no way to not do that signing because that was done before the end of last season, if I remember rightly. And obviously Salah is still somebody you want to be building the team around. He is still one of the best players. We're back in the summer. He's just had an incredible season. We don't know he's going to start the season as ineffectually as he has in real life. And to be fair to him, how much of that is because of being asked to play with different players in a different system. So my thinking is that we probably do something that takes the strengths of the team that Liverpool already had that solid base in midfield and then fits the new players in. I wonder if Quick Pick is thinking along the same lines as me. I mean, it kind of is. So you've got the two new wing backs in. I mean, yeah, it could be Robertson. Maybe Kerkez takes over eventually. Alisson in goal, obviously very, very strong. You've got the strong centre backs, although you don't have much strength and depth behind them, which is a weird thing that Liverpool seem to neglect in real life. The central midfield is strong. You've got McAllister, you've got Gravenberch, you've got Szoboszlai, who doesn't even get into this best 11. I would argue maybe he should. And then you play Wirtz as the number 10. And then keep Diaz, keep Salah, and then I guess that's a big area where we can go and spend some money. I think a striker is definitely needed, and I think there's maybe an argument where you do that instead. And like I say, maybe if we're looking more long term, you do that and just have him as a wing back bombing on as well. But I don't think, from the point we're at here, there's a huge amount to the first 11 that needs changing other than going and getting a striker. If we then go and look at the squad planner and the squad depth that we've then got, there are a few areas where you think, oh, okay, maybe a proper right back, because Frimpong, I mean, he is very, very attacking. He's a completely different type of right back to what Liverpool are used to. And certainly as far as FM is concerned, Conor Bradley, not up to it. Might become good enough, but isn't good enough just yet. So there's an argument for bringing in another right back to help with the strength in depth there. Definitely centre-back is a priority. We've got Van Dijk and Konate as our starters. Joe Gomez, who's always injured and is probably first reserve in the fullback positions as well, and then nothing. So a centre-back is an absolute must. Central midfield, I think, is probably fine. Obviously, in real life, where is Harvey Elliott? Does he not play? Oh, he does. Oh, it's because it's DM, not centre mid. In real life, obviously, they did trim this area a little bit. It might be something that I look to do as well. I don't know that we need McAllister, Gravenberch, Endo, Szoboszlai, Jones, Morton. I think they sold Morton in real life as well. But I don't think you need those 6 to fight over those 2 positions. And then if further forward, you've got Wirtz, and then any combination of these players who can play anywhere else as his backup. I think Wirtz is just nailed on starter as your number 10. And then any one of these can step in from any of these other positions to cover for him if he's unavailable. Up front, yeah, it's a disaster. I probably will look to still sell Núñez like they did in real life. And there is potentially an argument for bringing in 2 strikers. I'm not sure that I will, because you've got Gakpo as a potential backup. Salah could go up front if needs be as well. But there maybe is an argument for some backup for Salah on the right, because, again, there's not a huge amount. I'm not sure how I rate Chiesa. Maybe we keep him around the left. I don't see any reason to sell Luis Diaz. I think he wanted the move in real life at the moment. In FM, he doesn't want the move yet. If he asks for it, obviously my plan might change. But initially, I'm thinking he's our strongest long-term attacking player. Salah's 33. Diaz at 28 is the next best attacker we've got at the club. We don't really want to be moving him on unless we absolutely have to. So I'm thinking that 200 and something million pounds we've got to spend, 270 million pounds we've got to spend. I think priority 1 is a striker, which obviously Liverpool did. Priority 2 is a centre-back, which they didn't. Well, they kind of did, but then he got injured. So maybe I'm being a little bit harsh, but I want a centre-back who doesn't then have his knee explode. That would be ideal. And then potentially, depending on how much money we've got left, and we should have some money left, if we're not going out and spending loads and loads of money on strikers, if we only bring in 1 and trust Gakpo and Salah as backup, and maybe Diaz if we keep him, and Núñez if we keep it. I mean, if we sell Núñez, obviously then that's money to reinvest. But striker, centre-back, and then maybe a right-back, maybe a winger, maybe both. I think that's my plan. Let's see how we get on. And we have made it through to the end of the summer transfer window. And as you can see, I've pretty much done what I set out to do. We'll focus in on the 3 players that we've signed in a second. Just starting off looking at who we got rid of. And I think that is the key. We've signed fewer players because we sold fewer players. Looking through at the actual sales that we've done, it's really only Endo. Arsenal offered us £20 million for Endo, so we've let him go. Tyler Morton's gone on loan to Newcastle. But other than that, Darwin Núñez. How do I forget about Darwin Núñez? Paris Saint-Germain gave us £46 million for him, so he's gone as well. But yeah, we've kept Elliott around, for example. We've kept Luis Diaz around, so there wasn't the need to go out and buy an Isak and an Ekitike, because we still have a Luis Diaz, we still have an Elliott to be involved in that attacking midfield area as well. And obviously we've brought in this guy who of course went to Real Madrid in real life, Franco Mastantuono, who in game, because we rolled back the clock, still at River Plate, still with a release clause. So we were able to swoop in and pick him up for his release clause at 18 years old. Can be that Wirtz backup at attacking midfield, can also be the Salah backup on right midfield. So it's ideal as like a next guy coming through to potentially replace Salah long term, but can also get game time covering for Wirtz as well, who we didn't really have a strong backup for. Obviously, loads of potential. I think that's a really good signing for the future. For our striker, obviously, with the benefit of hindsight, didn't really want to cause the summer-long kerfuffle with Isak, who hasn't really worked out for Liverpool yet in real life. Ekitike didn't seem as good in game as Marcus Thuram. Marcus Thuram, I feel like, fits exactly what we needed for both my profile of striker that I like. He's 6'4". He's also very physical, very quick, can play up front, but can also cover out on that left-hand side as well, if need be. And I just think he's exactly the kind of profile that you want as a big leading centre forward for a team like Liverpool. So he comes in to take the departing Núñez's squad spot. And then we went and got Mark Gay. Obviously, Liverpool were linked with him all summer in real life. They just really didn't seem to want to spend the money on him because he's out of contract next summer. And I think it's potentially cost them, both in terms of not having sufficient backup, but also not giving them the option to switch to a back 3, which might work better with those wing backs. So we've just decided to be, 70 million. We spent crazy money anyway. Rather than getting Ekitike as a backup striker, we've got Gay as a potential starting centre-back, maybe a backup centre-back, at least an extra option for us at centre-back. 25 years old, English, good defender who's only going to get better, starter for England. Just seems like a bit of a no-brainer. With those players in, if we look at what the game now thinks our best 11 is, again, in this, does that actually change anything? Maybe we have to clear the squad first, or maybe we already had the best 11 picked. I think maybe we already had the best 11 picked. It's weird the way it's squashed those two together in midfield. I don't know why it's doing that. But there you go. You can see it a little bit better when they're a bit more spread out like that. So Alisson in goal, a back four of Robertson, Van Dijk, Konate. It's saying Joe Gomez. I don't know that Joe Gomez is going to be my starting right back. I think we can probably safely put Frimpong in there. I did spend all summer trying to find a right back, and I'm starting to see why Liverpool, A, moved so early for Frimpong, and B, had to settle for Frimpong because there was no one else better. Because certainly based on the scouting that we've done, and if we filter it to right back, there's the really expensive guys who you can see I tried with them both. There's the really expensive guys who are never going to sign for us. And then there's not a lot else. There is a dearth of available quality right backs in world football this summer. So I do cut Liverpool a little bit of slack for the decision that they made with the Trent replacement. So it has to be Frimpong. And then you've got McAllister and Gravenberch in midfield. Again, I would make a strong argument for Szoboszlai. I really like Szoboszlai. So maybe you squeeze him in somewhere. And then Thuram up front with Diaz, Wirtz and Salah behind, I think is as strong, if not probably stronger because of balance, than anything Liverpool were able to do in real life, having spent even more on their front line. I think having a couple of proper wide players, a proper number 10 and a proper striker, is much stronger than trying to shoehorn 2 strikers in and squish everything else around them. If you're not going to change the system, then buy players that fit the system. In real life, it seems to be we're going to sign players that don't really fit the system and try, but then not change the system to fit them. It's very odd, very odd. Obviously, we've got this guy who can be a backup for there. He can also be the backup there. I've lost Wirtz. He can come back in and go in there. An area where we're potentially a little weak, obviously, definitely compared to real life, is centre forward. If Thuram gets injured, we don't have loads of backup strikers. You're looking at it being Chiesa, Wirtz, Gakpo, Salah, Diaz. There's not loads of players queuing up to fill that gap. So that is probably something to look at in January. There is still a pile of cash available. I mean, it's an Ekitike style pile of cash. We could potentially go and get him in January, but basically didn't want to spend loads of money whilst still trying to find a right back. And that kind of left me a little bit short up front. So I've kind of gone the opposite way to what Liverpool have done in real life. Erred on the side of caution, signed a little bit less than we needed rather than a little bit more than we needed, but I've kept some money in the bank so we can see how we get on over the first half of the season. And then when it becomes obvious where there's a squad gap, at that point, you go and fill the squad gap. As you can see, we've won 3 from 3 to start the season. To be fair, so did Liverpool in real life. And then the wheels fell off. So we're going to jump forward to January and check our wheels. And that, it's fair to say, is a solid set of wheels. Halfway through the Premier League season, 19 games gone, 15 wins, 4 draws, 0 defeats, 49 points on the board already, a 33 goal difference. Interesting to see Bournemouth up in second place, having an incredible season. Arsenal, Man City, in fact, Man City not doing so great. Man United not having the best of times, either. Spurs and Chelsea well off the pace. But yeah, we have been very, very good. If you look at the way everybody has performed, Thuram actually not scoring a ton of goals, 15 goal contributions, but 9 of them have been assists rather than goals. Just the 6 goals, only averaging a 6.95. He's very much the pivot point for the guys behind him to rush past and do the goals. Similar to what Liverpool did in the title-winning season the year before, would be my argument. Don't change the way the team works. Give these two a guy to play off, and look what they can do. 26 goal contributions in 24 matches from Salah, averaging a 7.62. 15 from 22 for Luis Diaz, a 7.23 for him. Cody Gakpo, who's going to be one of the first reserves for basically all 3 of those. He's got 6 goals from 8 starts as well. The one disappointment is my boy Szoboszlai not really playing enough, which is a little bit disappointing, but Frimpong seems to be having a nice time playing at right back. Wirtz, again, as disappointing in game as he has been in real life, 21 games, 1 goal, 4 assists, a 6.78 average, still very much not getting the best out of him, but that's a small problem when you're that far clear at the top of the Premier League. And of course, we've now got the January transfer window with some money to spend. So if we then come back in and look again at how our squad is getting on, we've now seen Frimpong have a pretty decent start to the season, which makes, I think, bringing in a right back less of a priority. We've seen that Frimpong actually has worked. He's got a young Conor Bradley as backup. Joe Gomez can cover there as well, who's needed less to play at centre-back because of Gay being here. So I think the defence probably doesn't need any work now. We've got a midfield that Szoboszlai can't even get into. That probably doesn't need any work. So now we go into January with that £90 million to spend. Okay, according to this, right midfield's a little weak, but we've got Mastantuono who will get better in that role. I think we can now go out and get that second striker because we know now that we don't need to spend the money somewhere else. So the plan for January, go and buy another striker to rotate with Thuram. And that other striker is none other than Nick Waltemada, who, of course, in this universe, didn't go to Newcastle because Isaac didn't leave, so was available for £72 million from Stuttgart, where he'd had a pretty decent start to the season. So we've paid his release clause, brought him in for £72 million, and he is now there as an option for us to rotate with Thuram, which is lovely, lovely, lovely. Perfect outcome as far as I'm concerned. And I think having Thuram and Waltemada is, I would say, for the way I want to play with my big, strong boys, I think that's a better combination than Isak and Ekitike. Liverpool fans are probably going to take exception to that statement, but Waltemada's had a better start to the season than either of your boys. And then we also, similar to what we did with Mastantuono, were able to go and get Esteval because he was still knocking around in Brazil. So knocking around in Brazil with a release clause, still sat there for £19 million. So we swooped him. Once it became clear we were getting Waltemada and there'd be some money left over, we've gone and got Esteval, who covers the two same positions as Mastantuono. So he can be backup for attacking midfield and right midfield. And between the two of them, we've got the long-term future of the right-hand side after Salah is done absolutely secure now, which has freed us up to be able to go and sell Harvey Elliott. He's gone to Leeds for £44.5 million. So I think that's a better deal, certainly for us, than Liverpool got in real life with him loaning out to Villa. I don't know, it's a better deal for him, although he's not really playing for Villa. He's got to play for Leeds, surely. And we've also sold Shimikas to Chelsea for £23 million. And then some of the fringy boys have moved on as well, which means all in at the end of the January transfer window for the season as a whole, we've spent £309 million, brought in £139 million. Obviously, that number doesn't include the transfers that already happened. So if you add Wirtz, Kerkez and Frimpong onto that, I probably have spent as much as, if not a little more, than Liverpool have spent in real life. But obviously that does include January as well. And I've probably brought in a little less because I didn't sell Luis Diaz. Well, I did sell Elliott, probably for a little bit less than Diaz went for, though. But I think actual ins and outs, when you look at where Liverpool will be at the end of January, I think those numbers are completely acceptable numbers. Unfortunately, we have picked up a league defeat during January, so we're not going to go unbeaten. And it is pesky Bournemouth, who are having an absolutely flying season of their own. They're still up in a Champions League qualification spot. We've now got that one defeat. Newcastle, with Isak still there, also having a very nice time. How many goals is he scoring for them? He has got, I mean, he's not scoring for fun, is he? But he's not public enemy number one in the Northeast like he probably is in real life. And yeah, if we have a look at what the game thinks our best 11 is now, probably hasn't changed a lot since the start of the month. It's still not Gomez. That's still going to be Frimpong rather than Gomez. Waltemada doesn't come in as the starter. Thuram probably still starts, but Waltemada, very adequate backup. And we've got some good strength in depth in a lot of key positions now. And I think the balance of this squad is now, in my humble opinion, as a handsome entertainer, I think this is a better squad depth and a better balanced squad, certainly in terms of depth for the positions in the system that we plan to use. I think we've got better balance and better depth than Liverpool in real life. Now let's go and win some trophies. And that, boys and girls, is a trophy. Back-to-back Premier League wins for Liverpool, finishing on 85 points. We ended up losing 4 games. So the team got worse in the second half of the season. What must that be like? But did manage to win the Premier League. Bournemouth finishing above Man City. Great season for them as well. But yeah, we have ended up as champions. As far as the Champions League goes, we got knocked out in the semi-final by Barcelona on penalties. So not ideal, but certainly a fairly deep Champions League run. Also won the FA Cup as well, beating Arsenal in the FA Cup final. And we're just checking in on the Moose Cup as well. Which it looks like we got knocked out by Stevenage back in September. Let's not worry about the Moose Cup, eh? If we just check in on the Champions League, it is a Real Madrid versus Barcelona final. Goodness me. But yeah, that was your semi-final. So, I mean, it's unfortunate to go out on penalties. Another year, another little bit of luck going our way, and we're in the Champions League final as well. And it really is starting to look Very, very snazzy. I don't know why the best 11 has no one in at right midfield now. That's weird, isn't it? Can we clear that and try that again? Okay. So pick best 11 is broken. Weird. Never mind, eh? We know roughly who it is. It does look like we've broken something somewhere. Almost as if there's 1 or 2 bugs in the game. Who knew? Not enough bugs, though, to stop me from proving that I am a generational talent as a football manager, and certainly better at managing Liverpool than this season's version of Arne Slot. If you think you could do even better than I did, let me know down in the comments what you would have done differently. And also let me know your suggestions for future teams we can have a look at in what I'm hoping is going to be a new series. If you like it, if it's well received, Football Rewritten could be a new semi-regular series on the channel where we just stroke my ego by proving I'm better than real boys. That's the plan anyway. But if you have enjoyed this video, please leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.